Blood's cracking. So we're cruising up here on our way back from Telluride, Colorado, back to Northern California at 12,500. Regs are if I'm above 12.5 for more than 30 minutes, I have to wear oxygen, but it's a good idea just to wear oxygen and for passengers to wear it too. The reason is, and it's nice to know the fundamentals of why we have to wear oxygen. Up here at 12,500 or 40,000 feet, we're still at 21% oxygen. But the volume, because there's less pressure pushing down on the molecules of air, they're further spread out. So every breath you take, you're getting less oxygen molecules. So at sea level, there's 760 millimeters of mercury of pressure holding all the air molecules together. So 760 millimeters of mercury is the sum of all the particles of that composes our atmosphere in the air. The partial pressure as you go up drops. So we'll take 14,000 or about 14,000 feet. That decreases from 760.
Cabin altitude above 12,000 feet.
We'll get reminded of that. So it'll change. I think it's like 540. And so because oxygen is only 21% of that 540, you have to divide it by or times it by 0.21. But when you breathe in that air, because of the heat and the moisture in your mouth, from that 540, you have to actually subtract about 45 millimeters mercury, because the heat and the moisture in your mouth will actually cause molecules to spread apart even more. So then when you divide that by 21% at 14,000 feet, you get about 50 for the pressure. So if you look at this thing, it's called the oxyhemoglobin disassociation curve. And it's just a graph. So you go to 50, you go up to where the graph intersects, and it's at 85% oxygen. So the partial pressure up at that altitude is 85%. And yes, your body obviously has compensatory mechanisms where you breathe deeper, you breathe more frequent, you blow up that CO2, you get more molecules of air because you have to take in more volume to get the same molecules of air. However, that doesn't work very often, because if you look at that oxyhemoglobin disassociation curve, when you start blowing off CO2, by the way, CO2 is not acidotic. It's only when it's combined with water that it's acidotic, because it becomes carbonic acid. So you start blowing off the CO2, you become acidotic, you shift that oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve off to the left a little bit. And yes, when you shift it to the left, your red blood cells have more of an affinity to hold on to oxygen. However, what happens is it loses its ability to offload that oxygen. So even though you're breathing heavy, you're breathing frequently, your oxygen sat might go up, but because at extreme altitude you're blowing off, you're becoming acidotic, the red blood cells have reduced ability to kick off the oxygen molecules to your cells. So your cells are actually hypoxic, even if your blood is saying that you're adequate in the SpO2. So there's a little learning curve, and that's understanding kind of the basics of why we have to wear oxygen, or why we really should be wearing oxygen at altitude. It really helps your brain function. Lord knows I need all the brain function I can get, so especially when I'm flying.
Say again?